The courtroom is filled with tension as the trial of Lorena Bobbitt commences. The judge sits at the bench, the prosecutor and defense attorney prepare their cases, and the jury takes their seats.
Both parties are present. May we call the jury? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we gathered here to seek justice for John Bobbitt, a man who suffered a horrific act of violence at the hands of Lorena Bobbitt. We will present evidence that will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Lorena Bobbitt committed the crime she stands accused of.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client, Lorena Bobbitt, acted out of desperation and fear. We will present evidence that will shed light on the abusive nature of her relationship with John, suggesting that her actions were in self-defense.
The trial begins with the first witness, John Bobbitt, taking the stand.
Mr. Bobbitt, can you describe the events leading up to the incident on that fateful night?
Lorena and I had our share of arguments, but nothing could justify the violent acts she committed. She took away a part of me, both physical and emotional.
Mr. Bobbitt, is it true that you have a history of anger issues and have been involved in altercation prior to this incident?
Yes, I made mistakes in the past, but I never laid a hand on Lorena. I never deserved what she did to me.
He kicked me. He told me that I told you not to cry. And he slapped me in my face. He pulled my hair and he squeezed my face. And yet, he still went down and he did anal sex.
The trial continues with testimonies from friends, neighbors, and medical experts, each providing their perspective on the couple's relationship and the events leading up to the incident.
Doctor, can you explain to the court the psychological impact of long-term abuse on a victim?
Abuse can lead to emotional trauma and severe anxiety. Victims may feel trapped and resort to extreme actions when they see no other way out.
As the trial progresses, both sides present compelling evidence to support their claims. The arguments became intense, emotions run high, and the jury struggles to reach a verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence presented in this trial clearly demonstrates that Lorena Bobbitt committed a violent act against John. Her actions were not justifiable in other circumstances.
Members of the jury, we must remember that Lorena Bobbitt endured years of abuse and lived in constant fear. Her actions, though extreme, were a desperate attempt to protect herself from further harm.
The jury deliberates and finally returns with their verdict.
Jury, have you reached a unanimous decision? I have, Your Honor. Commonwealth of Virginia versus Lorena Leonor Bobbitt. Case number 33821. Defendant is present. Counsel assistant. State attorney is present. My understanding is we have a verdict. Anything from the state, let me talk to everybody. Somebody out there is going to be unhappy. I know there are family members of Lorena Bobbitt. Presume that there are family members of John Wayne Bobbitt. If there is anyone is going to audibly react, then you need to go ahead, quietly step out. I don't want the jury to feel any pressure from reactions of the people in the crowd. I have the power of contempt over you, and that's not my goal. Today is to hold people contempt, but I do not want you reacting once you hear the verdict. Please read the verdict.
Defendants, please stand. In the case of Commonwealth of Virginia versus Lorena Leonor Bobbitt, case number 33821, I, the jury, find the defendant, Lorena Leonor Bobbitt, not guilty of malicious wounding as charged in the indictment by reason of temporary insanity. The statute requires a mandatory commitment for observation period of a minimum of 45 days. 19.2-18 has a constitutional defect.
So ordered. Case dismissed.